Michael McCann back with me as well, and I'm also joined by Pete Najarian. He is a former NFL linebacker who is a contributor to CNBC's Fast Money, and Chris Valletta, former NFL player and author of Teamworks. Thank you very much for this signed copy, Mr. Valletta. How presumptuous. What made you think I was going to read your book?
No idea.
Rachel,
you agree with that? Well, viewership is certainly up. I mean, the game is more popular today than it ever has been before. But what's interesting is this gap of viewership. The viewership is focused on football as almost a fantasy thing now, whereas the reality of the game is now centered on the topics of murder, of domestic violence, of child abuse, and the likes. So the NFL has to close that gap, not broaden it. But I think the domestic violence campaign that they're going to be putting on at the Super Bowl is a great first step in that direction.
We'll get to that in the next segment. Actually, we're going to play the PSA, the entire PSA, and get you guys' reaction to it. But Chris, I want to ask you this because I know that you are not a Richard Sherman fan, but here's what he wrote in Sports Illustrated about Marshawn Lynch before yesterday's media day. He said this. He says, under Goodell, the league continues to put players like Marshawn Lynch in a position to be mocked by the media, which seems to get a kick out of seeing people struggle on camera. As teammates, we're angry because we know certain people do well, and we know that they struggle with Marshawn's talking to the press. It is the equivalent of putting a reporter on a football field and telling him to tackle Adrian Peterson. You say that, this is a prima donna attitude in the NFL, and do you think Sherman has a point here?
Well, look, he is an exceptionally talented player, but his talent is eclipsed by his exceptionally well-developed tongue in front of the media. There's no doubt about it. He's a media guy. But here's the deal. It sounds like he wants to become commissioner of the NFL, which is fine if that's the route he wants to take. He's about to play in the biggest game of his life, and he's focused on topics that are out of his control and, frankly, ludicrous. Every single NFL player signs a contract. They have to appear in front of the media, flat out. If you're uncomfortable in front of the media, well, then the NFL should put systems and processes in place to train you and to help you so that you're more well-developed in front of the media. Marshawn Lynch made a fool of himself. Actually, it's a total embarrassment, not only to himself, but to his team and the NFL. I think the NFL it needs to drop the hammer on him. As a matter of fact, I hope they do, because the skills of actually presenting yourself well, communication, those qualities are highly transferable to the rest of your life. There's going to be 50 more Marshawn Lynches in the NFL.
Yeah, but do you think the NFL cares? They care how he handles the football and if he can score or tackle or that. I mean, that's what
that's
really
what they want
care
out of him. That's why they hired him, because he's good at playing football. And he needs to represent the league. That's his job as an employee of the NFL.